Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Hope you guys are having a good Memorial Day weekend. This is Memorial Day I'm recording this, and I figured what better way to celebrate today and acknowledge the passing of the final member of the classic Iron Butterfly group, the passing of Doug Ingle, who is right here. He was the lead organ player, keyboardist, and this is a recent pickup I was going to share with you guys. And I know we're kind of doing this in a different fashion, but I thought I would share this with you. I found this in Des Moines, Iowa for like 15 bucks. And at first I thought it was a record album because it was in a sleeve. Turns out it's a sort of concert booklet here, put out by Visual Thing. And I think I think it's Jeff Goldstein. I forget which Goldstein it is, but they put out several little concert booklets of this type back in the day, and I just couldn't pass it up. And talk about odd timing, I picked this up, and then I picked up the Iron Butterfly theme promo 45 just to have Mr. Doug Ingle pass on us. So I thought just a good way to kind of give you a little visualizer here and show some photographs of the band and celebrate Doug's legacy here. So Doug was actually born, he's a native of Nebraska, born in Omaha. So here we got the copyright date of 1969. I think this is pretty much coming to the end of like their classic run. I think Eric and maybe someone else, one of the members, left to do Metamorphosis. I could be wrong. I might be a little off there, but I forgot to look beforehand. Sometimes the lineup always messes with me, but got Eric here. And of course we got to attach what sign he is. He's a Leo. Lee Dorman here. He's a Virgo. Yeah, I'm not sure what Eric would later go on to do, but I know Lee was in Captain Beyond. And then Ron Bushy, Capricorn, famous for his In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida drum solo. And then Mr. Douglas Ingle, who was also Virgo. Also lead vocalist, and I guess you could say the prominent singer-songwriter of the group. Let's get a shot of these cool photos here for you guys. Hopefully they're turning up okay. I'm not sure if this is all like US based photographs. I feel like some of them were out of the country. Maybe you guys can inform me on that. I'm not entirely sure. I just picked this up, and I'm actually just kind of looking at this for the first time a little bit. Got the cool fisheye lens there. Yeah, it's kind of sad to hear of his passing, you know. I thought maybe he had passed years ago, but just didn't hear much from him in recent years, and it's like they're getting sort of a live television performance queued up here. And this is definitely the classic lineup, of course. You know, with Eric on board, he was pretty young at the time. I think he was like 17 or 18 around this time. And I don't have In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida anymore on LP. I'm actually looking for an upgrade. I used to have a pretty decent copy, but if anything, I would like to find like a promotional copy. I guess those are pretty obscure. Mono promos are. If I had a favorite Iron Butterfly LP, it'd probably be Heavy, their first one, and then Ball second, and then In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida probably third. I do like their In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida record, which is, you know, I think historically one of the first records to ever sell 1 million copies. Is that right? Some cool photographs here. And although pretty good, it's got a couple songs that really throw it off a little bit for me. But I was listening to them on my way back from my hometown, and, you know, since I had a little extension on the weekend and gave them a little listen. I hadn't listened to Metamorphosis in a long time, which was shortly after this, 1969 photos. It was the following year, 1970, and I don't know. Still not a big fan of that record. They were certainly losing that period flavor a little bit on that one, kind of going a more progressive route. But honestly, they were really one of the first, quote unquote psychedelic groups I ever discovered as a child, probably around, somewhere in the vicinity of 8 to 10 years old. It's a cool photo there. The Vox organ. And yeah, this is certainly one of the first bands that changed my point of view on music, for sure. Don't listen to them like I used to, of course, but they truly made an impact. And nowadays, when I listen to In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, people could quote them as like a one-hit wonder group and such, but they were much more than that, obviously. But that song in particular, I've always kind of found it like, even though it has all the tropes and all of the things that psychedelia is about, it's got the acid guitar, it's got a drum solo, it's a whole side-long track, and it's got a pretty good hook. I've always kind of felt like it's almost like a, the more I listen to it nowadays, it almost sounds like a parody or a satire of all those psych rock tropes, And I don't mean that in a, demeaning way, but that's just kind of how it always came across nowadays towards me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it's kind of felt kind of tropey to me. But at the time, I think a lot of people weren't really used to the whole idea of like a sidelong track, and of course the origin story of, I think it was Ron Bushy and Doug Ingle talking one evening, and kind of slurred out of Doug's mouth when he presented the lyrics to the song In the Garden of Eden, and it kind of sort of stuck that way, and how he interpreted it. So there's a little photo there. Sorry about the glare. Sun's kind of popping in and out today, so yeah, figured I'd just little highlight here of this book, give you guys some insight on this. And yeah, the classic period, obviously, because when they first started, in '67, they had like 3 different members on board who, I think 2 of them went on to Rhinoceros on Elektra. It still very much feels like the classic period. Eric Braun, he's very much got that awesome fuzz tone, alongside, Doug's playing with that heavy organ. And I think Doug's father was I think he was a preacher, or no, he was a church organist. I think that's where Doug got his inspiration to play the keys. And while we're here, I guess I'd share the LPs that I have. So I only got Heavy and Ball. So this is an original copy on Atco, stereo copy. It's not the most crisp copy, but it's certainly playable. I got this in Vegas, of all places, along with Yankee Dollar. Always love that cover art. Out in space, and then there's like the whole ear made out of blocks. We got a shot of Ball here. This is a very common, or at least used to be a very common thrift store record. I'd spot this all the time. This is one example where I did pick it up from a antique shop. And there's Doug there on the right. And on the right there. This one really grew on me. I really like this one, Ball. I think it's really good. Belda Beast. That is a monster track. Get a shot of the label in this one too. It's in an old Columbia sleeve. It's kind of just how I found it, but it's pretty clean yet. So yeah, Soul Experience. You know, some of my favorite tracks on In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida too include probably the last 3 tracks on side 1. My Mirage, Termination, Are You Happy? Some great songs. So yeah, rest in peace, Doug Ingle. Figured I would just highlight this book here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I was planning to do a psychedelic trip number 50 this weekend, but I had the whole video edited. It took me like 2 hours worth. You know, you rip all the songs from your records, you put it all together, and then once you're ready to export it, the app was it would just stay at 38% and it would just crash. So unfortunately, I could not make that happen today. Kind of sucks, but at least I can get something out over this little extended weekend, and hope you guys enjoy. Listen to some Iron Butterfly, and we'll see you soon.